Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 38 of the What Do We Do podcast. And this is not Kyle Bogey. This is Dewey Stefan. I'm so happy to be here today. And I do have not one, but two special guests with me today. And without any further suspense, how about we introduce Kyle Bogey and Mike Sullivan. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Happy to be here. I'm in the guest chair today, though, it feels like. Not necessarily the host chair, so a little bit different.
Dewey, great to see you as always. Looking forward to talking, and thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Well,
Appreciate
and
it.
a great big booyah to ya both. And Kyle, you are absolutely still the co-host today. Mike, you are absolutely still running the control room, but we're going to bring you this side of the glass. You've got the
big glass. We have a huge glass set up here at Great Lakes Wealth that I sit behind.
You know, and all the monitors back there. So we've got Rachel here actually helping us out today, and she's going to be back there looking at the monitors, making sure the feeds are working. I mean, this is a big-time production, as you know. So with that, listen, we're happy to have you guys here. So much to talk about for our listeners, for our viewers. As you know, we want to give some topics that are timeless, some topics that are also timely. We also want to invite leaders in the community in to join us to tell, their experiences and with what you two have been able to do in really just a year, launching Brand 25 and Metro Detroit Golfers and a few other things that we want to, share with our audience today. It's just amazing that I'm happy to have you guys here joining me and the podcast. Usually we're all working together behind the scenes with other folks, but today it's the three of us. And with that, I'm going to kind of let Kyle start it off and start the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been I would say a whirlwind, of a year. Certainly for Mike and I, just completely changing careers and kind of going off in these, various directions and ventures that we have. For me, obviously, had a daughter who's going to be a year old here, in just a couple of months. So it's been certainly a wild year, but, wouldn't change a thing, honestly. It's funny how it all kind of came together, just conversations, between Mike and I and, starting up the marketing company and kind of joining forces to, get people online, get local companies online and utilizing social media and digital assets. And that kind of fed into the conversations about Metro Detroit Golfers and, with everything going on with COVID and courses being shut down. Are they shut down? Can you play? Can you walk? Can you not? What are the rules on all that can happen? I just remember sitting, with Mike, and we would just have conversation after conversation about what are we missing? What should we do? There's got to be something golf related. And I mean, it couldn't have turned out to be a better development than Metro Detroit Golfers and what it became.
We would say, what do we do?
I was going to say, instead of what should we do, let's go a little smoother with what do we do?
I mean, and like you said, a lot of it's been a crazy year for sure, and it's been all great. Like you said, you had a beautiful daughter. I got a puppy. Very, very similar things, obviously. But nonetheless, what's been fascinating to me, Kyle, is when we decided to leave radio. Obviously, the marketing company, Brand 25, had got to a point where we had to leave. It was getting so busy. It was just a no-brainer, really. It was a tough decision, but it was also a very easy decision because
Can we start with that?
Yeah.
Let's put some of these rumors to rest. Let's put a lot of the innuendo, to the side. This was, last March, so just over a year ago, maybe before that. But Kyle, you were, you had a gig on 97.1 The Ticket, and Mike, you also had a gig, if you will, at 97.1 The Ticket, right? So if you could just walk through leaving these careers, these guaranteed paychecks to come and,
start a business,
Entrepreneur Land 101. So can you talk through kind of just how that all went down? And in the middle of COVID, again, there was a spike in unemployment right up to 20 plus million almost overnight. And yet you guys decided to walk away.
Right.
So how'd that happen?
Well, I mean, different experiences. I would say for me, it had gotten quite nasty towards the end. I'm obviously grateful for the spotlight and for being able to build a name and, working with Wojo and, doing overnights for years. It certainly helped me, and I think it's helped our company and helped, Metro Detroit Golfers doing what I did and working with Channel 7 and all that. But for me, it was a horrific year of trying to get a promotion, of trying to get the hell out. Honestly, I was blocked from going to Minnesota and doing a morning show because of my contract, and they didn't do anything with me here. No raise, no promotion. So I just kind of stayed in that 6 o'clock spot. Tried to go to Houston, did an audition there. Ended up being, blocked, poisoned, whatever you want to call it. And at that point, I had been telling them for 6 months, either I'm getting a promotion and I'm getting a raise, or I'm not signing another contract. And, it just got to a point where he and I had started working on the side because I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do? What else am I going to do here if this isn't going to work out, right? Because you make a statement like that, a proclamation like that to your boss, you better be able to back it up and be ready to do something else and be ready to walk away. And it had reached, a certain point where it wasn't going to happen. And they offered me one last contract, a 10% pay cut, a 6-month non-compete, and I'm staying at 6 o'clock, and there's no promise of getting a promotion in the near future. And I flat out said, I'm not signing that contract. So I'm going to try to renegotiate, try to essentially send a counteroffer. They said, don't bother sending a counteroffer. This is the deal. You're either going to sign it or that's it. And I said no. And I let it be for essentially the last month or so, leading up to my contract officially being up. And I ended up getting the word a week before my contract was up that there wasn't going to be another offer. I wasn't going to sign that deal, and that was just it, honestly. So for me, I had 9 months to prepare for that. I tried to get out. They wouldn't let me. Tried to force my way into promotion, into a raise. Didn't want to do that, and I just wasn't going to play ball anymore. I'd put in the time. I thought I had, put in the effort. I wanted more, and if I wasn't going to get more, I was ready to walk away. And I was fortunate that I'd worked with him for several months and kind of started to build this marketing company on the side, and it ended up becoming this full-time thing. Now, did I imagine that here we are a year later, we would be in this position and all of this has happened and everything? No, of course not. But I certainly am happy that, we had those conversations and started to kind of veer in a different direction, because everyone has goals in life. You have goals in your career. And if you're not going up and getting better and people aren't valuing you in that way, you have to make a decision. And ultimately, that was the one for me.
Well, the narrative was, thank you very much for sharing. The narrative was that it was COVID, the station wasn't that happy with you, and so they just weren't renewing your contract, almost like in the middle of the night. Like they're just putting you out in the street, and so either you were a disgruntled employee or you just, weren't happy.
Oh, I was.
Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. But it
for
wasn't,
different reasons.
But the backstory wasn't there. So exciting, but also in the middle of COVID, you again, to our listeners out there, anybody who's, at a corporate job and looking to go and do something entrepreneurial, Sully, as you always say, those other streams of income, right? You want to have as many streams of income as you can. The average millionaire has 7. We want to be better than that. Our goal is 11 around here, but you had to, with a baby on the way, not even here yet, right? I mean, there was a lot that you had to, put on your plate and eat. So, Sully, now your story, same thing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot different, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's with me, I had really, with what Kyle and I had built, I mean, I was extremely confident with that, and I think that I've always believed in digital, especially now more than ever, as being the future, right? That's why it's brand 25. The average person spends 25% of their day on their phone, right? 90% of people admit they look up a company online before deciding to do business. I could go on, stat after stat. But with what we had started to build was, I had known that I was ready to, to really build a business. It's been a huge passion to really build your own business, to be your own boss. And that's always been a huge driving force with what I've done. And I think that when Kyle and I had started it, it had started as a side thing of radio clients also asking us for some help with digital, with social, with digital ads, social media management, things like that. And at the time, if you want to look back in last spring, sure, you're right, middle of pandemic, March, April, May, I officially notified in June that I was going to leave.
You gave a month.
And then I left August 1st. Yeah. So it got to the point last May where we had about and it sounds crazy at the time. I mean, we had about 6 or 7 clients, Dewey, Great Lakes Wealth being one of them. We were doing well. It was to the point where we absolutely could make the jump. And, it's crazy in retrospect. We had 6 or 7 at the time. It was just Kyle and I. Now we have, Brand 25 has, 40, call it right around 40 clients. We have 5 other members on our team now, 7 total. I mean, it's expanded so quickly. And it really just at the time was a decision to, hey, let's see it through. I couldn't live with myself if I just stayed in the same job and did the same thing and never really took a risk. I really wanted to take a risk, and it was a calculated one because I was very confident with what we were doing. Around the same time, we launched Metro Detroit Golfers, which exploded off the gate. Now we'll get to that in a second, but a year later, that's a whole nother topic. So it was just the confidence of both Brand 25, our marketing company, and Metro Detroit Golfers, where I knew that we wouldn't let it fail. I knew we just had to dive in full time and scale it even more, and that really was the goal. I mean, I think that I'll wrap it up by saying this. For myself, if I ever feel like I'm just kind of plateaued, or I'm not even to mention declining, but if I ever feel like I'm not one step ahead, or if I'm not thinking about the future, or if I'm not inclining, I panic personally. I freak out. I got to change something. I got to do something else. And that's kind of how I felt. I kind of felt like I had hit my ceiling and I needed to break through and incline more, go up more. And that's really the ultimate force with me, where I knew that's what I had wanted to do. And I think, Kyle, we were in lockstep with both companies and building those.
Yeah, and I would say that's where we were most similar. It was just like we both wanted more. We both knew that we could do more. We wanted to try and get better. If you're not getting better, and if you're not doing more, and you're not making more, what are you doing? Are you just going to sit there and plateau? No, I always. And
we believe in this stuff. We believe
totally
in digital
agree.
with the future.
Yeah.
I mean, I had at the time had just over a year left on my current contract, and decided, now's the time. And I could not be any more grateful and thankful for the experience I had at 97.1 and how the exit was, and how everyone handled themselves.
Hold on with that exit, because I don't know if you're remembering the details as I remember them, but it seems like the exit was a little bit, muddied waters.
Oh, I had like a farewell tour. It seemed I was like almost embarrassed by how positive it was for.
Well, it seemed like maybe the station then, it seemed like, again, the press that came out, if I remember, from, and you, again, different situation. You had time left on your contract, right? And so, Kyle, with yours is it's a negotiation period, and that was what went down. Sully, yours is, all right, you're the number one show, sports radio in Metro Detroit, right? Midwest, whatever it is. And so you had gone from a earlier position. You had kind of been growing, right? An intern, growing, right? And we've talked to, Mike Valenti about it, and he certainly was continuing to groom you and teach you and mold you and bring you on board. So in some regards, you had kind of the opportunity to stay and to do more, but you decided that you're going to take this path, which is fantastic. But if I remember, the press release or the way that they announced it was extremely underwhelming.
Right.
Yeah. I don't remember any trumpets and fanfare.
I don't need. I think it was positioned as some people thought. I remember getting texted like, "Oh, I'm sorry you got fired," or like, "Oh, yeah." Right. I don't think it was positioned the right way. But again, I mean, Valenti had got on there and put that to bed right away, which I appreciated, and I'll always appreciate that, and I'll always appreciate the opportunities, like you said, that I had from him, and it's sure right away. Yeah, there was that whatever it was of how they were letting me go, right? But I mean, that was put to bed very, very quickly. Everyone was, for the most part. I'm talking about Mike. I'm talking about the staff that I worked with David and Roberto, and my boss, Jimmy Powers, was extremely supportive as well, which I appreciated. But yeah, I was totally fine. I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't care. Like, if anything,
that's the big thing.
The only thing that does motivate me is when I see our success right now, and I think about stuff and a lot of private stuff that we don't share and wouldn't share with the public. But when you really think about some of that stuff, and then I think in my head about the people that had called me crazy for leaving, or said that I was an idiot. What am I doing? That's everyone has that stuff in the back of their head that motivates you. That's the stuff that motivates me.
All right. So question one. So this will be a great segue to post transition. Okay. Again, pandemic is full force. There are people that are unemployed, whether it was short-term furloughs to permanently, let go. But so any comments to anyone else who might be out there considering it in the future in
Yeah.
terms of did you have or should you have 3 to 6 months
Oh,
of living
I
expenses
feel very
put
strongly
aside?
about that.
You know,
Yeah.
what do you think you need to do? What do you do
Six-
to set up yourself so that
Totally.
you're not, freaking out a week later?
No, definitely 6 months. I believe in that. You need to have that in your checking account, and that's something that I tell a lot of people close to me that in terms of just advice, I totally believe that you have to have 6 months saved. But I also think, Dewey, that if someone's thinking about just making that jump and just taking a risk and going and betting on yourself, I encourage it more than anything. If you truly are passionate about something and you believe in it and you're going to work at it and you're not going to let it fail, I not only think that it's just incredible for self-fulfillment, but that's truly how you generate wealth in this country. That's truly how you build generational wealth, is if you start something and if you're a business owner and you build it. So I think a lot of people get caught up in, and I know I'm going to be long-winded here, so Kyle, I apologize, but
I'm used to it.
a lot of people get caught up in the corporate lifestyle. I believe that. A lot of people get very, very comfortable with a nominal raise every single year, with a promotion here and there, making enough money to be able to have the house with a picket fence, the trip to Disney World every year with the kids. There's this corporate American mindset that people have, and I think that it can be risky a lot of people can't tolerate that risk just to jump and just to try to do it on your own and all the headaches that come with that. And it is a transfer of headaches because you have to think about stuff as a business owner, healthcare, benefits, payroll, things like that you never have to think about as an employee. But
And everything reflects
still would
on
rather
you too.
would rather have it this way. You call the shots, you make the decision. The success or failure of the entire business, your livelihood depends on that.
Mm-hmm.
Your livelihood literally depends on the success or fail of your business, and that's a different mindset. That's not a 9-to-5 mindset.
No, it's not. It's completely different, and you're no longer at the mercy of other people. You can't blame other people, honestly. If you don't have success, if you make a mistake, if something isn't going right, you have the ability to fix that, whether you have to work 6 days a week, 7 days a week, late hours into the night. Like you said, when we started, it was literally you and I. I mean, we had some people, on retainer that we would, get some small projects, done and all that. But it was literally you and I building this and managing everything. It wasn't, us, just delegating all of this stuff. We truly dove in and wanted to build, something special. And I mean, I'll obviously speak for you as well. It's been incredibly rewarding to just kind of see, how it's all kind of come to be. But it is a different kind of pressure. It's not, I guess, asking for more or hoping that more kind of comes down the pike. If you really want to put the work in and do more, you can make more. You can get more clients. You can get more business. You can, make all of these incredible things happen. It just comes down to whether you want to or not. And for years, when you are at the mercy of, can I get a small raise? Can I do this? Can I do that? Constantly asking, you no longer have to do that. And it's a freeing thing. For some, it's uncomfortable. For others, I think it's been really freeing.
And
for
I
us.
think, Dewey, something you've talked about a lot too, the concept of time management as well. Truly knowing, what your hour's worth, truly knowing how to manage the day, truly knowing when to scale, when to hire, things like that. I mean, that's not easy stuff. And a lot of that you have to figure out on the fly, or you have to have business mentors and people that you can ask for advice and things like that. That's been huge too, because it's very, very important to make sure that you're able to manage the hours properly. It is not a 9-to-5 job.
There's no blueprint. There's no, you start a business. There's no syllabus.
Right.
There's no, this is exactly what you need to do.
This isn't a franchise.
No, yeah. By this date, you need to be doing this, and by this date, these are the decisions that need to be made. That's not how it is. You do have to rely on, mentors, and we have certainly had, a plethora of those. I think we're really fortunate. We've had some very successful people that have taken an interest in us. Certainly you, obviously, that have just tried to help, and offer advice.
I think it's fascinating, and it's also different than a previous episode of this podcast where the Tomies talked about the franchise model, right? And they've had immense amount of success with that, and that's fantastic. But it's a lot different than a model like that where, if you're a franchise owner, you do have the blueprint. You have, this is what you should do to succeed. I think Anthony made the comment on this episode, all the way down to how to clean the bathroom, right? And that's great because that provides a lot of structure and an opportunity for businesses to scale. And it's a proven model that works. But I think when you just dive into it and jump into it, it's totally different with figuring out stuff on the fly and getting advice and things like that.
Do you think, and then we'll switch gears, but do you think it was easier because maybe it started as a little side hustle as you're kind of getting it going with the first few clients or the first few, research and your business plan? Like, we don't need to get in the weeds on it, but rather than, quitting your job on Friday, starting that
totally.
on Monday, it could be a franchise, but maybe starting it on the side a little bit gets it some traction.
We have something to fall back on. I think that's obviously, a huge thing. And, for me, I'll credit you. You got me thinking bigger than I ever had, because it was, for me, a side business. I wanted to pay my mortgage with this, and then I wanted to pay all my bills with this. And then, and then you start to kind of think, okay, this isn't just a project by project basis type of thing that we're doing. This is actually a bigger deal and something that we can scale and do more of, and let's come up with plans. And I just think back to how many nights you and I would sit there for hours and just talk things out. And is this a good idea? Is this a good idea? How about we do this? I want to target this sector, this type of business. And I think it was just those conversations that, again, I seriously will credit you. And I don't want to butter you up too much, but you did get me thinking way bigger than I originally thought this was going to be.
And it's the evolution of it too. I mean, and I think that having just Kyle and I to fall back on too, of it's not just that solo mindset. We know that we're going to both work hard, we're going to network, we're going to build, we're going to scale, and we have. But I mean, I think it's, if you just look back at some of the early parts of our business, heck, go pull up a proposal. I mean, I'd probably be embarrassed to look at the first what do we do proposal that we sent over, with how
I have that. I have it.
With how bad it probably is.
I'm going to put it on the website tomorrow morning.
And how it's worded and stuff like that, I think that there's a lot of stuff that we have just grown with and evolved and really improved in multiple areas and multiple departments of our business, and that's something we're constantly trying to figure out and constantly trying to scale properly.
Yeah, and you mentioned a couple of times it was in the midst, the middle of this, pandemic. Who could have ever predicted that this was all going on?
Opportunity.
And I will say in the humblest of ways, it for whatever reason, it really worked out for us because it did show companies the need to be online,
my God.
And that was the only way to reach customers. And you no longer could do trade shows. There were no events that you could go, no promotions that you could do, no games that you could market for, whatever it was. So this digital marketing truly became the only way that you could do anything as a company while this is all going on. And I do think that there is a lot of serendipity in that. I feel very grateful that we were somehow able to thrive in the midst of that, because I think a lot of companies obviously struggled this year. A lot of people, certainly have had a very difficult year. And, for us, we were able to just kind of push through.
A lot of digital services will help companies without them having to hire someone full-time, or things like that, where it's, I think that we talk about all the time, since COVID started across the board, online usage is up 40%. If there is one positive out of COVID, and COVID's been awful, right, on several different levels, but if there's one positive that came out of it, it's companies realizing they have to be online, and every company, it's a very relatable conversation. Every company knows they have to be online. It's just a matter of how they're going to do it, what are the areas of need, et cetera. And that's where I think we've really honed in our services, right, where we can offer a lot of different things, but be very personal and very specific to each company. It's not a cookie cutter, right? So overall, I know we haven't even talked about MDG yet, but it's been great. Brand 25 has been awesome.
Well, congratulations on just passing year one, the first year anniversary of Brand 25, right? So continued success with that.
Thank you. Yeah.
We just love having you as a partner here at Great Lakes Wealth and the What Do We Do podcast, which is, again, for everyone out there listening and watching, produced by Brand 25 and co-hosted by Kyle Bogey. So with that, again, congrats there. Great segue into the next chapter of that book.
Well, let me interrupt real quick,
okay.
Dewey. What would you say, just wrapping up that before MDG, if you had to say to the people, new businesses, especially because you started your business, obviously. What would be a big piece of advice? I know I'm putting you on the spot though, of what you would tell new business owners in terms of some of those topics we mentioned about scale, about knowing when to hire, about knowing your hours in the day, etc. Is there anything that comes to mind, instantly?
I guess time management, absolutely, right? And you have to be able to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as you two both said, it is your reputation. It becomes synonymous with your name. Great Lakes Wealth, to me, is an extension of Dewey Steffen, right? So we had a partner when we opened our doors as well. And so there were two of us. I was kind of thinking back to our 5-year anniversary is coming up in July 1st of this year. So
Congratulations.
Yes, we're excited. That's right around the corner. So time flies. We just opened our doors, and we're still just getting started. But so same thing. It is a drive you have to have. So absolutely, just be able to work and manage your time, and everything else has to become secondary for a period of time. Absolutely, right.
No, I love it. That's great.
Yeah. Okay. So now there's this new venture. It's actually probably about a year old now. It's called Metro Detroit Golfers. I think you start with one follower, and now maybe you have, 10, 20, 30, maybe 40, but then let's put 1,000 on there. Is that about right?
Just under 50,000 right now.
Just under.
It's right around
across all
40,
platforms.
45 something. Or,
Yeah.
Well, to that thundering herd that's listening and watching, congratulations, and I'm certainly a part of it as a
thank you.
Day
one.
Well, just again, as a member. So with that, let's talk about this amazing community. We talk at Great Lakes Wealth, and what do we do about our community? And this is certainly an amazing community here
That's
in
what
Metro
it
Detroit.
is. Kyle says it all the time with wanting to just grow the game of golf. And when we started it back on May 8th of last year, I think that's really just how it started, where we mentioned COVID from a marketing standpoint, but also, sure, from a golf standpoint, there was so much discussion at that time and so much confusion about can you play, and like Kyle said, can you drink on the course? Can you use a cart? Can you – all these questions, right? And
there were helicopters flying around from news stations.
Well,
you would have thought murders were being committed.
Well,
at
that's a whole other thing. But
it was insane.
That's something that was fascinating to us, though, Dewey, where there was so much discussion about golf at the time. We knew that there was a huge appetite to talk golf, and the stats have proven that 2020 was the biggest year since 1998, right, which was the Tiger Woods boom. In terms of total rounds played, it was just remarkable. But we launched at May 8th with the concept of Michigan's a golf state. It's a huge golf state. There's a huge appetite for people to talk golf, and that's what people don't realize, too, that it's the third biggest golf state in America behind Florida and California. So there's so much great golf in the state. There's so many passionate golfers in the state, and there was never, for whatever reason, a social media space to really match that appetite for golf. So that's how it started, where let's create that group chat, so to speak, for Michigan golfers, where we can talk golf, we can talk about courses, we can ask questions, people can meet each other, we can in a positive manner promote the game. Of course, there's idiots, right? There's almost 50,000 people on there. We moderate stuff every single day, so I'll
this one
I'll put
guy
that
on
right
there,
away.
Darren McCarty. Have you heard of this guy?
He's a member as well.
There.
Yeah.
He's got a leaf blower that he pulls out just to make sure he's got nothing in his putting line. And,
Well,
this has got to stop. Okay, we got to get back to basics. You got to not tap those spike marks and not be blowing your leaf.
Well, we try to keep it fun, and started as a Facebook group. Now we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, podcast, text list, etc. And we got just under 50,000 total members. And yeah, Dewey, that's really what it is. Just people wanting to talk golf, and really, I think that we tapped into an underserved audience of just people in Michigan who want to talk golf.
Well, it was amazing how quickly it became a brand. That was really one of the things that stood out. Obviously Metro Detroit Golfers, it was a Facebook group, and there was just discussion constantly, and you couldn't pull up your phone without seeing 17 notifications of people commenting or posting something or whatever it may be. And very quickly it seemed people were asking about merchandise. How can I represent the group? How can I show what I'm doing and what I'm a part of out in public and at these courses? And it was amazing. It seemed almost overnight there were MDG hats and MDG polos and, quarter zips and all of this out there. And it was just like this frenzy of just people who wanted to be a part of it. And, you say it all the time, now more than ever, people want to be a part of a community. And in the golf community, it's such a small community, a niche community, if you will. But if you can tap into it and you can find what people are interested in and find those conversations, it's amazing how far it can go.
It's a huge niche, though. It's a niche, but it's a huge niche.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very passionate one. Golfers will.
Hey guys, it's Bogey. I want to take a second to talk to you about Dewey Steffen and his excellent team at Great Lakes Wealth. Look, do you feel overwhelmed with managing your assets in today's financial world? I mean, think about the times we're in. Do you want financial freedom instead? Great Lakes Wealth offers Wall Street solutions with Main Street values. They sit down with you to develop custom financial solutions utilizing all of your assets, even your 401k. They build the future you want based on your goals and your dreams. That's what Great Lakes Wealth is all about. Thinking about you, thinking about your family, and thinking about your future. Simply go to greatlakeswealth.us to schedule an appointment today. They offer better investments and better service than anyone out there. Your road to financial freedom starts at greatlakeswealth.us. Please visit greatlakeswealth.us or simply give Great Lakes Wealth a call today.
Want to talk golf, they'll spend money on anything. And we want to talk about a great demographic to reach. I mean, the golfer demographic from a pure business standpoint is, I would argue, the single best demographic to reach. I mean, it's people who, again, have disposable income, who want to have fun, who want to just talk golf. And that's, I think, where we did have such an, you want to talk from a business standpoint, we did have such an immediate ask and a need for merchandise off the top, like you said, or for the tour card that we launched, or for outings that we get asked about all the time. So, MDG has been great, and that's the cool thing I think about our two businesses is that we have two businesses that do have a lot of synergy, where we have a lot of golf courses and businesses and business owners that golf that have hit us up and want us to do marketing for them, but they're also very separate from Brand 25 is a completely, that's why the logo is how it is. We have a completely B2B business. It's a B2B marketing business. MDG is a completely B2C, where we are dealing directly with consumers. So 1A, 1B, where Brand 25, we deal directly with businesses, and MDG, we deal directly with the public and directly with consumers and things like that. So that's been a real, I think, a perfect balance from a business standpoint of having two separate assets, one B2B, one B2C.
I want to stop right here, and I want to tell all of our listeners, all of our viewers, to go ahead and subscribe. If you haven't, we want to thank you for all that you do to listen in our episode here. Follow us, like us, as Kyle always says. I guess I'm going to have to pick that up today and just make sure that we thank everyone. There's might be close to 50,000 people listening or viewing this in the next month or so. So with that, again, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for following us and the What Do We Do podcast. But with that, let's go back to, in any business, you have to have a plan. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, with Metro Detroit golfers, what were your goals for year one? I heard May 8th is coming up, so we're going to talk about, what were your goals, whether they're written down or just kind of, amongst yourselves talking. Goals for year one, which we're about at, and then what's going to be your goal for year two, and then, year 3 to 5 or whatever. Right. And let's start with that.
That's a fascinating question, and that's a there's certainly. It's multi-purpose almost. I think that there's certain goals on a general level we have. I think there's certain financial goals that we have that obviously we don't have to get into here. But I mean, I think that when push comes to shove, Dewey, the main goal that we had was going into this year, we wanted to really figure out a way to, number one, keep MDG as positive as possible and continue to grow, and both businesses really continue to incline. But number two, just finding, and this is a general statement, but it's something we think about all the time, just finding how to properly scale and to do it at the right time. And I think that that's been the most challenging, but also the most rewarding part of just really making these big picture decisions on how to properly scale. It is what comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I think in the beginning it was, if you remember the social network with Justin Timberlake about Facebook and how it began and all that. And I think Justin Timberlake's line in the movie, Sean Parker, said, Facebook is cool right now. You got that going for it. You don't want to clutter it with ads and all these different things that are going on. And so the immediate goal, right out of the gate was just have it be a fun place, a cool thing. Grow the audience, keep people engaged. It just literally tap into that passion and just keep it going. That was really the genesis of it all, at least to me. You just got to build the audience, have some fun, create that community, and then you can start to figure out, okay, we're going to do some merchandise, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to offer this content, and that's how you kind of build. I mean,
do not reach into the pockets of people. You can't.
No.
And whenever you do sell anything, there has to be value given to the consumer. I firmly believe that merchandise is sense of community, whatever, and I firmly believe that the tour card is with how much value people are getting. The two main things that we've actually sold, So, keeping that a very clean and positive place and not spamming people, right? And just, honestly, just doing things the right way. I think networking is a huge part of what we do, and that's something that's always a priority in terms of just growing the business and client relations and things like that.
So let's talk about that. So you've got the website, which is metrodetroitgolfers.com.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. And so, again, Facebook community also. There's a page.
Group and page, yep.
And page, right? Mm-hmm. Instagram.
Yep.
Of course. Absolutely, right. And so with there, started selling apparel. And I saw the Masters just wrapped up yesterday, and I'm wearing my Masters green jacket. I mean, Nike today. Close enough, right? And I saw that you actually had some Masters swag that was available.
Masters inspired.
Amateurs. Yeah.
Amateurs. Yes, absolutely. Let's keep it all legal. Let's keep it all legal. But the hottest new thing are these membership and tour cards. So let's talk about them. I mean, that's something that just came out, here recently.
Yeah, and really, I think just partner with 30 plus of the best public courses in the state. We have private courses on there that are doing member for a day. We have out-of-state courses. We have business perks on there. We have simulators on there. Just creating a golf pass, so to speak, a membership pass where people can purchase it. And if you're someone who's going to use this 10 to 15 times a year, call it once a month, maybe a little over once a month, it will completely pay for itself. Completely. You're going to get 15% off at all these courses, right? You're going to get all these these ridiculous contest entries that we just had a winner for. You're going to get just a lot of cool stuff, and that's something where, I mean, Kyle, I think that's the best way to put it, where it's an annual golf pass if you're an avid golfer in this state.
Yeah, and unfortunately, right now we have to have a physical card, but in the future, obviously, we want to have an app. We want to have the ability to scan,
How
and
about
all that.
a digital token?
Seriously, 100%.
NFT or whatever, right?
That's Do we want to start doing that? Talk about the future.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's obviously something that we want to kind of build, toward in the future. But some tremendous partners with all these golf courses, the resorts that we have.
Are the cards sold out?
Incredible.
And if so, how many cards were available or are available?
1,000 total. We still have a few left, but for the most part, the bulk orders that we've done are done. But if there are people that still want one, we do still have room for a few more. Just have to message us personally about that, and we can get it taken care of.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So here we go.
You have one.
I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Have you gotten yours?
I haven't got it. It's in the snail mail. It's in the USPS.
I actually think I have it in my car. I could go get it right now.
I thought Tim was supposed to be handing those out at the MDG Virtual Golf Show.
And you could never rely on him.
I had gotten a text from you fellas, that showed me the card, and I haven't received it. So again, in politeness and in good form, I just sat back and figured, well, maybe.
Do you have it in your car?
I
know I
drove
guarantee
here,
but
do.
yeah.
We'll get
we're going to put that out on social media so everyone can see that the big dog over here, Dewey Steffen's got a card, and he's going to be running around town swiping that bad boy all over,
sure.
right? Fantastic. All right, let's talk about the latest thing that I was actually also a part of, which was the first virtual golf show for charity that you partnered up here recently. Can you talk about that and the success you had there?
Well, thank you for donating as well. You guys made a very generous donation. You came on the air with us, and
let's talk about it. What was that event?
Yeah, so the virtual golf show. I mean, there were so many big golf shows in Michigan that got canceled, and we tried to kind of digitize that where We have a bunch of listings, virtual golf booths, so to speak, of courses, of golf companies offering discounts and deals to kick off the season, to tee off the season, I should say, so to speak. But what we did is it was completely free admission, but we encouraged donations from vendors and from people. We raised just under $20,000, and we donated that money equally to 4 separate charities. That would be Midnight Golf, the First Tee, Eagles for Children, and the Evans Scholars Foundation. So that was cool just to create a virtual golf show to tee off the season, and especially since we couldn't do a physical one, and we had great vendors and great partners like yourself who were able to come to our broadcast, spend some time chatting, and certainly appreciated your donation, Dewey, on behalf of Great Lakes Wealth and others.
Yeah, Great Lakes Wealth was happy to be a part of the event and to donate. Those 4 charities are just amazing in the world of golf here locally, but also nationally with them as well. Okay, well now spring is in the air, right? We're in the golf season. So with what's coming up next as we enter year 2 for Metro Detroit golfers, let's talk about short term. Maybe it's something to do with Rocket Mortgage Classic. Maybe it's something to do with, again, other, golf related activities here this summer. But let's talk about, again, your next 1, 3, 5-year goals with MDG.
Yeah, I mean, this year, obviously we are going to be, bouncing around and kind of taking the MDG podcast on the road, if you will. So we'll be headed out to American Dunes for the grand opening there, which we're very much looking forward to. Just a great cause. If you haven't looked up American Dunes yet, please.
Folds of Honor does an incredible job.
Well, let's take a pause and rewind. Let's talk about the podcast. MDG does have a podcast. So we talked about the tour cards, we talked about the apparel, but the very first guest was epic. So let's share, in case some of the community listening and watching today isn't fully aware. Talk about the podcast, give the name and who your first guest was. And
Metro Detroit golfers, search it on Apple, Spotify. We're certainly online as well, Podbean or Omni or radio.com. I mean, wherever you get your podcasts. So we had Tom Watson as our first guest, which was incredible.
Who's that guy?
Tom Watson. He's a classic golfer.
Sounds familiar.
It's okay.
He
golf legend.
He's a legend. He grew
Watson.
up actually and spent a lot of his summers in northern Michigan. So that was just a perfect first guest, and had a lot of great ones since then. And like Kyle said, going out to American Dunes May 1st for their grand opening. Jack Nicklaus will be there. Would love to get an interview with him. That would just be incredible. So we'll see about that. But yeah, in terms of the near, goals that we have, definitely busy summer, busy spring it's going to be. And I think outings, of course, is the low-hanging fruit there. Everyone keeps asking about outings, what we're going to do. And of course, we want to do as many as possible, but there's just still so much uncertainty in this state, unfortunately. And this state is a lot different than other states in terms of some of the restrictions, unfortunately, So we are definitely trying to figure out how to appropriately do outings. Last thing we'd want to do is to plan some huge outing, only to have it get canceled. We want to make sure we can do it right. So we are really planning some big outings right now. Outings is going to be the stuff that we figure out quickly. And as Kyle said, down the line, we have some other big things with subscription boxes, with Rocket Mortgage Classic stuff, with potentially doing some hospitality and some Pro-Am stuff. And there's a lot of big things coming, and definitely down the line, like you said, with the app for the tour card, some media packages we're going to potentially be doing with drone footage and photography. There's a million things we could talk about. Don't want to overcomplicate it, but always trying to stay one step ahead and making sure that this thing grows properly and in a positive way.
Well, again, congratulations with Metro Detroit golfers.
And you have an incredible golf accomplishment yourself, I know, which was posted on MDG before.
Well, that was posted on MDG for sure. I believe I have several. We all know the one that's...
You played college golf?
Yes, I was blessed to captain the Schoolcraft College Ocelot men's golf team back in 1990-91 season.
2 years before I was born, yeah.
Okay, well, back in the day, I think we just had switched from persimmon drivers to the first go-around of, steel heads, etc. That was how many decades ago that was. But yes, love golf. We're big fans of the golf community. I grew up caddying. I grew
Same.
up working, at a country club. Go ahead and listen to episode 1 of the What Do We Do podcast, and you'll get my backstory as it relates to golf. So I believe there's no better activity for individuals, for families. It's just such a blessing that if anyone can get out and be a part of it, then I encourage that for sure.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to seeing what the future for Metro Detroit golfers is.
Thank
guys,
you.
MDG, almost 50,000 in the community, and you're just getting started.
Yes.
As we always say, right? All right, well, let's talk golf for a few minutes, maybe on a personal level or anything else that you two would like to talk about, maybe individually. We do have this what do we call it? This section of the show where we talk about, instead of what do we do, we'll call it what Bogey do, what
let's
Sully
get to that.
do.
I love
Do you want
that.
to do that now?
Absolutely.
The only last thing I would say about MDG is certainly, just at the very least, guys, and we've gotten this question from some people who might be older, who might not be on social media, and we appreciate you mentioning the website, Dewey. Would encourage everyone just to, at the very least, go to metrodetroitgolfers.com. There's a ton of information on there, and there's a ton of all social links. There's videos, there's the membership opportunities. So if you're not familiar with Metro Detroit Golfers, it's already the largest golf community in Michigan, which is just awesome. So just check out metrodetroitgolfers.com, and you can get a firm grasp and understanding of it.
Couldn't agree more, and well put, well said, and do it if you need to, right? With that, again, the segment that we're going to get into now is, as opposed to what do we do, let's get into what Bogey do. So, Kyle, why don't you share with us what the current Kyle Bogey would tell the 18-year-old Kyle Bogey if given the opportunity?
Well, two things I would say. And one is a little bit, just kind of fun. I would say start playing golf immediately, you idiot. I wish I would have, committed to the game and started playing it way sooner than I did, because I didn't really start taking it serious until I was 23, 24. And I feel like I missed out on so many years of being able to enjoy the game and have those moments with my dad and, some of my friends. So that's one. The other, to me, would at least be, don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
Nearly as much maybe as I did in my early professional career. There's a balance between pushing and knocking down doors and F everyone and I'm going to break through and I'm doing this my way and you're going to allow that to happen. And it benefit me in a lot of ways because I wouldn't have gotten some of the opportunities that I did if I didn't have that mentality. It can also hinder you a little bit and almost paralyze you. If you focus on that too much, you want to make sure you are always looking, and have that hand in the door that's cracked open and you're ready to open the next door and go, down that hallway. But you don't want to be so focused on getting to that next hallway and getting to that second floor, third floor, fourth floor, whatever, that it hinders your ability to actually get there. You want to make sure you're in the moment, do the very best that you can at all times. And those things are going to come. So a delicate balance, but yes, I would say don't sweat the small stuff nearly as much.
Mm-hmm.
Start golf earlier and don't sweat the small stuff, right? So we've got 2 what Bogey do. I love it. A twofer. Booyah. All right, Sully, you're in the hot seat now. What would the current Mike Sullivan tell the 18-year-old Mike Sullivan given the opportunity?
I would look at him, I would say, just keep doing your thing, man. You're doing great. You're going to kill it. Just keep doing your thing. No, I'm just messing. Actually,
Are you kidding me?
only
I'm
half
not going to lie. I would say
half
that to you.
I honestly don't have too many regrets at all. I don't. I would certainly tell myself to invest in Bitcoin. If I was 18 years old, my God, I'd be massively rich right now. But I would just say, of course you hear life's too short, way too much, which I believe in. But yeah, I think I totally agree with what Kyle was saying about don't sweat the small stuff. But I think just really try and focus on the positive. Like don't just be negative. Don't just be cynical about everything. And just try and treat people right. Don't always have your hand out. Just do things for people. Life stuff's gonna come back around. And I think that to bring it full circle, I think something that Casey said on the episode a few weeks ago, Casey Herbis, was, you just never know when stuff's going to come back around. It could be 15 years from now, it could be 20 years from now, but just treat everyone right, network and keep communication open, and stuff's going to come back around, for you. So I think that if you operate like that, and if you truly are just, we talk about all the time with our company, right? Trying to give before you ask or before you take, I really believe in that. I think more than anything over the years. So
I couldn't agree more. As someone who's just a few years older than you, Sully, I agree.
Besides that, I would just say keep doing your thing, though. So
keep doing your thing. KDYT. Get a new logo, KDYT. My man. Appreciate that. Thank you for that. And all of our listeners and viewers, again, this is an important concept that you can take a step and look back and understand what may be an opportunity for the younger people that are out there today. So with that, that's fantastic. Why don't we segue and we kind of wrap up the show a little bit with just a little bit about each of you guys, where you're at now, where you think you want to be, personal goals, business goals. If you want to talk golf some more, great. You want to talk business as a business show here, community, talk about, again, the floor is yours. Kyle, we'll start with you.
I mean, as far as business is concerned, I simply just want to do as much as we possibly can. I think there is, over the last, 10 years between, the both of us, we have done so many different things and utilized so many different skills that we have. I think there are a ton of different areas of business that we can kind of go down and do and execute and do well. And it's amazing to me how many of the skills that we, you don't think about over the last 10 years, you almost take for granted that come into play now. And
radio, TV, print, digital,
everything.
it all blends into this company.
It really does. And, to me, I think that leaves so many doors open for us. You talk about 7 streams of income and, trying to just continue to build. I think there is a lot of opportunity for you and I. So it's really just about making the right decisions, not screwing it up, not, maybe getting out in front of our skis a little bit too soon. And, that's really it for me. I want to do as much as humanly possible, grow this as much as humanly possible, and just keep going.
Scale, yeah. I mean, we keep saying that word, but that really is the goal, just to scale and to build it right and to do it in a positive way. I think hiring more would be great. It's very fulfilling to be able to hire people and have more help. And again, I think my personal goal when it relates to what we're talking about with business, with MDG and whatnot, is I never ever want this company to do anything but grow. And I never want us to plateau. I never want us to decline even 1%. I want to make sure this company is always one step ahead and always at least, with a mindset of how can we improve and get better. I think a lot of people get comfortable. I think a lot of people could look at what we're doing and they could look at the success that we've had. And I say it, humbly, because I think it's been awesome and very fortunate with what we've built and love what we've built. But we're never going to coast. We're never just going to say, you know what, we're good. We were making a good living. Let's just service what we have and just stay put. No, we want to grow as much as we possibly can, but do it properly and do it in a way that's conducive to your time, to your employees, and where you're not overwhelmed, right? So really just that it all funnels back to that trigger word of scale, and that's what I really want to focus on both businesses and all of the other ventures that we have, and that's certainly on the business side. On the personal side, there's certainly stuff as well, but we'll keep it at that for now.
All right, well, guys, appreciate you coming on today and sharing your story with the two main companies, the Brand 25 and Metro Detroit Golfers. And as you both alluded to, there are some other ventures that you're either involved with or, working towards. And from our perspective here at the What Do We Do podcast and Great Lakes Wealth, there is the adage of 7 streams of income for the average millionaire in America, right? Well, we want to exceed that. We want to be exceptional. So we'll strive to get 11 streams of income, right? One at a time. And the same thing with your business. One day at a time, one opportunity at a time. As you said, don't get over your skis, but also don't, spend time looking back and, so kind of a balance, I think, is the key there. And, from that, we'll wrap it up. I'm going to let maybe Kyle take us out since I had to start the show today.
Yeah,
Kyle,
right.
I'm going to let you put you on the spot to take it out with what we always say around here. You guys are living it with just getting started. But
We actually say that all the time.
All right. Well, Kyle, I'm going to let you take us out today. Episode 38 is in the books, and
We're just getting started.
we're just getting started.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or any specific security. It's only intended to provide education about the financial industry. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Any indices referenced for comparison are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. As always, please remember investing involves risks and possible loss of principal capital. Please seek advice from a licensed professional.